Today is Friday, September 28th. It is 12:07 and it is currently 77 degrees outside.
Hey, what is going on? So, right now we are heading to band practice. We're about to go use some energy. We're going to talk about cellular respiration and what happens during that and how it gives you energy. So another important thing that you want to do before you start exercising is to warm up your body. Warming up your body, it's going to get blood and oxygen flowing, and you need that oxygen, like we said, for oxidative phosphorylation. That's going to be the final electron acceptor. If you do not have that oxygen, you're in trouble because it's going to cause a traffic jam, and then your body's not going to be able to produce ATP, and it's going to have to start using fermentation to get you your energy because you don't have enough oxygen coming in. So we just got finished. We're about halfway through rehearsal. I can tell my body is needing a lot more oxygen now.
Okay, so the more I play and the more I move, the harder it is for me to get oxygen in. So my cells are probably going into fermentation right now. And I probably produced a lot of lactic acid.
Hey guys, so practice is over. I'm pretty pooped. I can tell I'm like really thirsty and hungry. I think that's like my body wanting more glucose and oxygen to use. My cellular respiration is probably pretty pooped out from trying to give me all that energy. So we'll talk more about that when we get in my car. All right, now that we're back in my car, the question is, what did all that activity do and what was going on during that time? So cellular respiration is really broken up into 4 different processes. The first one is glycolysis. That's where glucose comes in. It's broken down into 2 pyruvates. Your NAD is going to come in and take electrons for a later process. In pyruvate breakdowns, your pyruvate are broken down into acetyl-CoA, which brings your molecule to the citric acid cycle. In the citric acid cycle, it's a constant cycle that just continually produces 2 ATP. Glycolysis also produces 2 ATP. Pyruvate does not produce ATP. But it's a constant cycle that just keeps going on and on. NAD also enters that one, and it will take its electrons. NAD is present throughout all processes. So the main point of the citric acid cycle is to set up oxidative phosphorylation, which is what we were talking so much about. In oxidative phosphorylation, your NAD brings the electrons to the electron transport chain found in the membrane. There, the electrons are going to move through pump proteins, which are going to pump protons or hydrogen ions up their gradient from a low concentration to a high concentration. The hydrogen ions are going to form an electrochemical gradient, which is going to be good because the hydrogen ions are then going to go through a turbine or a protein known as ATP synthase, and the movement of hydrogen ions going through that, diffusing through that, is going to be what causes ATP to be produced. Well, the interesting thing about food is that it contains carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And your body can use all of these to carry out cellular respiration. The main thing it's going to use is carbohydrates. It's going to break down your polysaccharides and monosaccharides like glucose, and glucose is going to be able to enter cellular respiration. It's going to be what starts cellular respiration. Now, what I want to talk to you about is fats, because if you want to lose weight and exercise, what you want to lose is your fats. So how do you start to lose that? Well, people that go on a low-carb diet who don't have carbs readily available to them, or people who are doing extraneous exercise and are burning a lot of carbs, their bodies are going to look to fats, to stored fats, in order to continue to carry out cellular respiration. And it's going to break down these stored fats into triglycerides and glycerol. Glycerol can ultimately be used in the cleavage phase of glycolysis, and triglycerides can enter with a CoA in the linkage reaction phase. So your body is going to use these fats, it's going to break down these fats to continue to carry out cellular respiration. And as these fats are broken down, the fat cells are going to start to shrink, which is going to be what makes you look a little bit thinner and a little bit leaner, a little bit nicer. So if you want to lose some weight, you want to look a little nicer, go out there and get you some exercise.